That story. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. It is kind of a pathetic image, is it not? Gideon trying to thresh wheat in a hole. How exactly is that supposed to happen? You need wind to thresh wheat. You crush it up. You throw it in the air, the wind blows away the chaff, and the heavier seeds fall back into the basket. But he's in a hole, hiding from the wider antagonistic culture. There's no wind down there in the hole. So the first word I want you to really hold before your hearts to kind of turn around to look at with the light reflecting off it is the word ineffective. Gideon's not a bad person. He's not doing a bad thing. Indeed, he's trying with all his might. He's doing what he has learned from his mother and father, his uncles and aunts, his cousins and neighbors. It's the thing they've done for over and over and over again for 1,000 years. You crush the wheat, you throw it in the air, but it's simply not working any longer because, well, he's in a hole, absent from the wind, hiding from the world. A world, admittedly, that would be happy to crush him instead of the wheat, to throw him to the wind. And then the angel of the Lord came and standing at the top of the hole stares down at this pathetic figure doing this noble but honestly ineffective thing. And the angel decides that perhaps now is the right time to offer a little, positive affirmation. Right? Gideon, son of Joash, the Lord is with you, you mighty warrior. And Gideon looks up from the hole, and in case you missed the subtleties of the Hebrew, gave the angel the I-5 salute, right? I mean, you need to read between the lines, but the message is pretty clear. What the hell, man? We left Egypt. You promised us milk and honey, and here I am, scratching out a living, hiding in the bottom of this hole. This is not what we signed up for when we abandoned those African flesh pots. Fortunately for Gideon, the angel of the Lord was undeterred, and instead of barbecuing him with his magical staff, he counted to 10 and took his deep breaths and quietly reiterated, Gideon, seriously, you have this. Climb out of that hole and change history. And something in the tone of his voice made Gideon simmer down, and we hear in his quavering response a soul that is at the end of its rope. But how can I deliver Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family. To which the Viceroy of God replies, I will be with you. 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 And that was enough. Gideon climbs up out of the hole and rushes into the tent and slaughters a goat and bakes some bread, a lot of bread. I didn't look it up. I'm thankful for that. And all this time the angel is sitting out under the tree, but no matter, patient. And eventually Gideon comes out with probably the last of their family's resources on a tray. And the angel says, dump it out on the ground. And now it's Gideon's turn to count to 10 and to take some deep breaths and to think to himself, in for a penny, in for a pound. And he does exactly that. And as the juices from the meat leaks out over all the place and the gravy is sinking into the dirt, the angel touches it with his staff, and the rocks themselves, the rocks burst into flame. Go God, right? Go God? Go God? Yeah? You okay with that? All right, we're happy. But this is not, my dearly beloved, this is not the miracle of the story. The miracle actually comes later. In the middle of the night, God returns and tells Gideon to tear down his father's altar and to take the sacred pole and to chop it up for firewood and to build a new altar, not down there in the pit, but up on a high place where everyone can see it in front of all those faithless Midianites. And Gideon actually does it. In the middle of the night, he goes and slaughters the family's cow, truly the last of their resources, and burns it on a new altar. And this, my friends, is also not the miracle in this story. That Gideon would do such an act of faith, this is not a miracle either. No, we're just getting going. The miracle here, as is true in most Bible stories, the miracle here, as is true in most Bible stories, happens off camera. The miracle is not that some great biblical hero did some great biblical thing, whatever, that happens all the time. The miracle is that the people had faith in this slightly unhinged, weakest child of the weakest tribe, and the people, knowing the truth about Gideon, still suited up, followed him into battle. That's the miracle. Call stories test our faith. Do they not? Amen? They test our faith. It was a bit of a test, wasn't it, getting through Presbyterian last month? Right? Y'all just wanted to change the nomenclature, move Liz from stated supply to called and installed. Called and installed. Called. 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 Maybe it was more than just a shift in nomenclature. Called by God? To what, Liz? To move beyond the rhythms of a tradition learned from our fathers and mothers, our ancestors, not because it's bad, it isn't, but because in this culture it has become, what was that word? Ineffective. Thank you. Somebody's listening. I love that. Called to tear down our family altars, to chop up our sacred poles, to use them for firewood, so that you, Rose City Park, might do something, not in this little hole of ours, but out there before an honestly antagonistic world. Could that be it, Liz? Is that what you're called to? I don't know. I can't say. But I do know a little of your history. And I know what she did for her doctorate. Just saying. And if I can be honest, I wonder what is stirring in God's heart regarding this place. And if I can be so bold, a stranger in your midst, I know what I hope for in my heart. I hope that you do something utterly crazy, utterly profoundly courageous. I hope you do something like Gideon did. And if, Liz, you actually do something utterly and profoundly crazy and courageous, I hope you know it will not be miraculous. Pastors often do crazy things. Whatever. Happens all the time. No, miracles are not actually within your purview. Only they can do miracles. Only they can trust, believe, suit up, climb up out of the hole, proclaim to a world confused and antagonistic about church that the old traditions are not as holy as the new hungers. Only they can do that. Miracles, Liz, are the stuff of God. And I hope you do have the courage to accept the challenging, exciting, somewhat crazy voice of God when she stands over this wine-stained hole and proclaims to you, "The Lord is with you, Liz, you mighty warrior." And I hope, I hope with all my heart, that you will prove to be more than just the weakest tribe in Manasseh. I hope with every ounce of my being that you will be faithful to God when Liz suggests that the old altars are to be torn down, and that you take the sacred poles of the past and chop them up and use them for firewood, and that when she who is truly called says, now we advance. I hope, I pray that you do. Amen.